Welcome to our meeting. The date is March 11, 2025. The time is 7 p.m. This is an open meeting of the Grand Island City Council. The City of Grand Island abides by the Open Meetings Act in conducting business. A copy of the Open Meetings Act is displayed in the back of this room as required by state law. The City Council may vote to go into closed session on any agenda item as allowed by state law. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time I ask that we all stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Deputy City Clerk will now perform roll call.
Council President Sheard.
Present.
Councilmember Stelk.
Present.
Councilmember Connolly.
Present.
Councilmember Nickerson.
Present.
Councilmember Brown.
Present.
Councilmember Hasse.
Present.
Councilmember Mendoza.
Present.
Councilmember O'Neill.
Present.
Councilmember Pollock.
Present.
Councilmember Lanfield will be absent, and Mayor Steele.
Present. Also present are Sonia Cisneros, the Deputy City Clerk, Laura McAloon, the City Administrator, Matthew Gleason, the Finance Director, Carrie Fisk, the City Attorney, Keith Kurtz, the Public Works Director, and Patrick Brown, the Assistant City Administrator, Chief Financial Officer. Individuals who have appropriate items for City Council consideration should complete the request for future agenda items form located at the information booth. If the issue can be handled administratively without council action, notification will be provided. If the item is scheduled for a meeting or a study session, notification of the date will be given. Council members, do you wish to remove any of tonight's consent agenda items? Mr. Hasse.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to remove item U, Resolution 2025-88, approving financial institution change authorization.
Thank you, Mr. Hasse. Hearing no others, we shall continue. A sign-up sheet was available in the lobby for individuals wishing to provide input on any of tonight's agenda items. If you did not sign up to speak on an agenda item, please come forward, state your name and the agenda topic on which you will be speaking. No one is coming forward, so we shall continue. Tonight, we have some important people to recognize under our presentations and proclamations. The first being recognition of Brad Foster for 40 years of service with the City of Grand Island, and also recognition of Grand Island Senior High individual wrestling champions. And I will discuss these remarkable people briefly before Mrs. Cisneros and I go down to the main podium and present certificates and pins. Regarding Brad Foster and recognizing him for 40 years, actually 41, you corrected me when I spoke to you earlier, 41 years of service to the City of Grand Island. Tonight, we're happy to celebrate city horticulturalist Brad Foster, who has served our city for the past 41 years. Back in 1984, Brad joined our city staff as a parks maintenance worker. but it only took 7 years for him to be promoted to horticulturalist in April of 1992. And it's a role where you have truly thrived. Mr. Foster, your impact is everywhere. Alongside your team of volunteers, you helped create the city greenhouse, and you have planted and are now caring for 25,000 annuals and perennials across 8 city parks and properties. Parks and Recreation Director Todd McCoy put it best when he said, "Your plants don't just bring beautiful colors to our parks, they provide environmental and therapeutic benefits for our entire community." Brad, your dedication has made Grand Island a more vibrant and welcoming place, and on behalf of the city, I thank you for your 41 years of service, and congratulations on this amazing milestone. On a personal note, I always look forward to the flowers that you bring to City Hall, and in a moment I will come down and present a certificate to you. But first I want to recognize our other very important people, the individuals who have won wrestling state championships, who are Anaya Roberts and Alex Gates. Tonight we celebrate 2 outstanding student athletes from Grand Island Senior High who have not only made their school and families proud, but have also represented our entire community with excellence. First, congratulations to Anaya Roberts on winning her 2nd straight Class A state championship. After early round wins with 2 pins, she showcased her grit and determination by defeating 2 tough competitors with a combined record of 80 wins and 10 losses. To win back-to-back state titles is an incredible accomplishment, and Anaya has solidified her place among Nebraska's best. Alex Gates is a Class A state champion after also earning 2 pins before overcoming 2 competitors with a combined record of 56 and 13. Alex showed the heart, strength, and determination that define a champion. Both Anaya and Alex are not just exceptional wrestlers, they are outstanding ambassadors for Grand Island. Their success is a reflection of their dedication, the support of their coaches and families, and the strong tradition of excellence in Grand Island Senior High athletics. We are incredibly proud of you, and we look forward to seeing what your futures hold. On behalf of the entire city of Grand Island, congratulations to Anaya and Alex. Now, before Mrs. Cisneros and I go down to the main podium, I would like to point out that last year, Jack Sheard suggested that one of the wrestlers pin the mayor. And I want everybody to note that I am wearing glasses. Brad Foster, I appreciate you being here, and your wife, Michelle. Brad, would you please come forward? Brad, it's always an exceedingly proud moment when we can congratulate long-serving city employees like you. We take great pride in the city employees. We have excellent people who do excellent work, and you've been doing it for, even though this says 40 years, It's actually 41 because you started part-time back in 1984. Is that correct? Well, on behalf of the City of Grand Island, I have this certificate to offer you which states, "We hereby express our sincere appreciation to Bradley Foster for your loyalty, diligence, and dedicated service during your tenure with the City of Grand Island," signed by me and by your Department Director, Todd McCoy. Thank you. Sonia has a pen for you. I want to get a picture with you.
I just want to thank the City of Grand Island that all you do for my family, my volunteers, and the Parks Department staff to keep the city colorful. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, for our wrestlers, we have a big contingent here from Grand Island Senior High. Anaya, your mother Ashley is here. Ashley, thanks for being here tonight. Matthew Hernandez, would you raise your name? Yes, there you are. You're the girls' coach, is that right, sir? Thank you for being here. Ian Lemberg, the assistant athletic director, thank you for being here. Chris Ladwig, the athletic director for Grand Island Senior High. Calvin Hubbard, the senior at Grand Island Senior High School. Thank you for being here. Joey Morrison, the head boys wrestling coach. There you are, sir. Thank you. And I think I got everybody. We also have, in addition to Anaya, we have Alex Gates. There you are. And your mom, Ashley. Ryan, your dad. And Pam, your grandmother. What a wonderful group of people to come out and celebrate these amazing athletes. Anaya and Alex, would you please come forward? Anaya, this is a certificate of recognition for your Class A state wrestling championship. And Alex, the same for you. Congratulations to both of you. We have a couple pins we want to give you also. And I appreciate you coming up to speak. Tell us about your amazing kids.
Well, actually, I think I gave my speech to you, so I'm done, correct? No, that was great. So we appreciate what this honor is for our kids, and especially at Grand Island Senior High. So thank you very much. First off, I just want to say thanks to the families for what they do for these two young student athletes. The work that they have to put in and day out, from when they're this young to where they are today, speaks volumes for what they do for their children. And I know that there's more coming up with the Gates family, so we're excited about that. Coach Morrison, Coach Hernandez, all of their assistants, the time that you guys put in to get these kids ready at a Class A level goes unspoken. And so without you two and your staff, we couldn't do that. Administratively, we do everything we can to get not only these individuals, but also all of our kids, the opportunities that they want to provide and strive to be the best at Grand Island Senior High. So Speaking about these two specifically, they both have overcome injury this year in different ways. And so to come out as state champs at a Class A level is huge. And then on top of it, if you would have told me that their freshman year that they would have come this far, I would have said you're 100% correct, because the work that they have put in over the past 4 years speaks volumes. And that's just not from a family standpoint. It's what they have done individually to get themselves to the point that they are today. And so to be a defending Class A champ and to do it again speaks volumes. And not only for Alex to come back from last year from a few disappointments to where he's at today, I can't say enough. And so for that, great work. I'm proud of you. We are at Grand Island Senior High. And I know one's for sure is going to go wrestle. Anaya's going to go continue at Southeast Community College. Alex is unsure right now. We're still kind of working out some details and figuring that stuff out. So no matter what the future holds for them, they're always welcome back here, and know they have made great strides and have made us proud at Grand Island Senior High. So congratulations to you guys. Thank you to the families for everything that you've done, and we appreciate all the things that you have done along with the council. So thank you.
Thank you all for participating. This is the highlight of our meetings, when we get to see what wonderful people we have in Grand Island. So I always look forward to this. Thank you again. Council members, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of item U? Mr. Sheard.
Thank you. I move that we accept the consent agenda, items A through T.
Mr. O'Neill.
I second with items A through T.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Please vote. Please vote. Oh, I'm sorry. Councilmember Sheard,
Yes.
Councilmember Stelk,
Yes.
Connolly,
Yes.
Councilmember Nickerson,
Yes.
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Haase,
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza,
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill,
Yes.
Councilmember Pollock,
Yes.
motion adopted.
7U, approving financial institution changes authorization. Mr. Gleason, please tell us about this.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Council. The background, some financial institutions require additional paperwork like a corporate resolution when adding new employees to be authorized to make changes to our accounts. Sometimes that means adding the finance director to paperwork that requires an additional person to authorize adding them. Most entities require somebody besides the signers themselves to authorize, such as a corporate secretary or officer. With Matthew Gleason joining the team most recently in his capacity, there are instances that such paperwork is required and he can't authorize himself. Discussion, staff is recommending a blanket resolution that allows the mayor and finance director to sign such paperwork in an administrative capacity to continue doing their job without future city council resolutions for each and every instance that may require such paperwork. City council can and will continue to authorize who we do business with via the designated depositories resolution that periodically changes as new banks and opportunities become available to the city. Recommendations, city administration recommends that the council approve the resolution to allow the mayor and finance director to sign paperwork as required for financial institutions.
Thank you, Mr. Gleason. Council members, a motion is in order. Mr. Sheard?
Thank you. I move that we pass item 7U.
Mr. Pollock? Discussion, Mr. Hossie.
Thank you, Mayor. Matt, I think my issue with this motion or this resolution, the law requires that anytime we need a change for any of these banks, that it come before the council. And it's not only to come before the council, but to make it a public document. This is one of those rare cases that in government, it's more important that it be presented for the public to know as well, not just the council to know. And so I'm not in favor of any blanket approval from the council from here to forever. I think there's a reason the law exists that these kind of things, even though they seem administratively in nature, even though they come to the council, I think it's more for the public to know what's going on and who's authorized to do what in the city of Grand Island. And I think it's just the public's right to know is what I'm trying to protect here. So I'm not going to be in support of the motion.
Can I ask a question? Sure. So if we took away the blanket and just had it be for the one bank or one institution, would that be better?
Well, I think any institutional change that you need to have happen should come to the council and just walk through what's going on.
Just the blanket part is the
yeah, I just don't want to remove the public from here to forever in approving what's going on in our financial institutions.
Okay.
I think there's a reason the law exists to come to council and not be an administrative decision originally. So I just like to keep that integrity of the public's knowledge. So
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Nickerson?
From a historic standpoint, and this may go to Patrick or anyone else that's been around, how often would these come before the council, do you think? Is it once a year, twice a year, once every 5 years?
Sorry, I'll let Pat.
Good evening. So the last time this is in front of you was 2018 when I was hired.
Been quite a while then. So this isn't going to be a frequent thing.
Some years.
Yeah, and I guess from the legal aspect of it, is there anything that you see that's detrimental to having a blanket type resolution like this? I'd ask our city attorney. These resolutions come from somebody, and is there any drawback to that? I understand Chuck's point, but I'm also not sure, since it's so infrequently, I don't know that it's a major concern, or should it be a major concern?
The law requires anytime we change a designated depository or change the bank for that to come through council for review, but authorizing the mayor to sign these creates that shielding there that doesn't let Matthew self-authenticate his status in the bank accounts, but creates that shielding. So the law doesn't necessarily require that each signature that gets added comes back to council, just that if we change banks, that comes to council.
Okay, and again, this is it appears to be very infrequent. I would guess, and I'll just ask Chuck in his history, when he was involved, how often did this come before you when you're involved in the finance side?
we came to council with any time we did a change of financial institution or signers. And so it was just an administrative nature, but it's one that, the public needed to know, the council needed to know what bank we're using, who's authorized to sign, because there are people that I wouldn't want to authorize to sign. Right now, the council gets to know, who the authorized signers are. It's a public process, and in government, this is one of the governance parts, where the council, and then it's not just the council get to know, so the public is participating in this as well.
Okay, thanks.
Mr. Sheard?
Thank you. I guess I've heard a couple different things, and I'm a little bit confused. I thought I understood it, and then I thought maybe I didn't. So if it's a new account coming to us or changing banks, that has to come to us. If this is simply we hired Matt to be in his capacity, we don't need that to come to for us for him to be able to sign. It's expected. That's why the mayor would allow it. Is that what, like the mayor can sign to add him on because that's his job?
Correct. So job description and duties determines who the city would put on a signature card for a depository. The depositories are approved by city council, but the banks can impose say we need new signature cards, or if we were to replace, say, the assistant finance director, their duties are also to be a second signatory on checks and bank account transactions. So when those jobs are filled, and the city council knows about that because of budget changes or vacancies that we fill, it's the city treasurer, which is Matt's title, it's the city treasurer that is charged with those duties to make sure that the city funds are managed appropriately. And when his position changes, you clearly know that because you have to confirm it. The mayor makes the appointment and then council confirms. So those checks and balances on who would be able to be authorized to be on a signature card, those are actually in place through job descriptions and duties.
So the mayor couldn't just say, you know what, I want Spencer to be able to sign for this today.
Correct.
It has to be a job title that we've already allowed.
Correct. That is outside of Spencer's duties.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Pollock?
Thank you, Mayor. Before we make any changes, I would like to leave it as is right now. If we're going to be switching banks and switching people to sign for this stuff, we need to have it at the council where it can be out in public knowledge. That's just my feeling on it.
I'll try this again. Please vote.
Pardon.
Sorry.
Mr. Sheard?
I'm sorry, just a clarification, because then we just said it again. If we're changing banks, this doesn't give us the right to change banks. Correct. This is only to change to allow people that have a job that allows them to sign to be added without it coming to us, in addition to us vetting them when they get hired. We can't just add a new bank or change banks because of this.
I got one other question, and why isn't our chief financial officer on it to sign? That's the big wig of the money.
So under state law,
I
Pat
am.
can explain.
I actually am. So I'm still on there, just for backup purposes only.
As long as you stay on there, I guess that's all I need to know, isn't it?
Yeah. So, I know we've brought this back several times, but it really isn't a big deal. And if you want us to bring it back, we'll bring it back per whatever institution it is. So it's just a matter of, I think it's like D.A. Davidson wanted the corporate resolution, which is a different resolution from the banks. And this is, I believe, what we're talking about is the corporate resolution. So again, we don't change that much. It's no big deal to bring it back. If council feels better that way, then so be it.
Mr. Pollock, your name's still up? I am done. Okay.
Please vote. Okay. Councilmember Sheard?
Yes.
Councilmember Stelk?
Yes.
Councilmember Connolly?
Yes.
Councilmember Nickerson?
Yes.
Councilmember Brown?
No.
Councilmember Hasse?
No.
Councilmember Mendoza?
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill?
Yes.
Councilmember Pollock? Motion adopted.
We will now take up our public hearings. 8A, public hearing on acquisition of public right-of-way and permanent easements for South Locust Street improvements, Fonner Park Road to 2nd Street, project number 2021-P-6, Ramos, Wertz, Berst, Central Nebraska Federal Credit Union, and Rosenbach. Mr. Kurtz, good evening.
Good evening. So as the mayor had mentioned, these are permanent easements and right-of-way needed for the South Locust Street Improvement Project.
Council members, will announce public hearings.
Public hearing is now open. Is there anyone who'd like to speak on this item? If not, public hearing is now closed.
Council members, is there a motion on Resolution 2025-89? Mr. Stelp.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I make a motion to approve.
Mr. Sheard.
Thank you. I'll second that.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Please vote. No. Councilmember Sheard?
Yes.
Councilmember Stelk?
Yes.
Councilmember Connolly?
Yes.
Councilmember Nickerson?
Yes.
Councilmember Brown?
Yes.
Councilmember Hasse?
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza?
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill?
Yes.
Councilmember Pollock?
Yes.
Motion adopted.
Public hearing 8B, public hearing on acquisition of permanent easements for Independence Avenue, Capitol Avenue to Manchester Road, project number 2023-P-10, Essink, Aaron's, and John. Mr. Kurtz.
Yes, similar type item as before, only this is for the Independence Project. All three of these are permanent easements.
Public hearing is now open. There's anybody who'd like to speak on this item? If not, public hearing is now closed.
Mr. Brown.
I move we approve 2025 TAC 90.
Thank you. Mr. O'Neill.
I second that we approve 2025-90.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Please vote. Councilmember Sheard?
Yes.
Councilmember Stelk?
Yes.
Councilmember Connolly?
Yes.
Councilmember Nickerson?
Yes.
Councilmember Brown?
Yes.
Councilmember Hasse?
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza?
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill?
Yes.
Councilmember Pollock? Motion adopted.
Item 9A, consideration of referring a blight and substandard study for proposed CRA Area 41 to the Hall County Regional Planning Commission. Mr. Nabity, please tell us what this is about.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Before you is a blight study that was conducted on the behalf of Nebraska Development and SGRE Communities. SGRE Communities are the owners of the Sterling Apartments up there on Capitol, and then Nebraska's own the undeveloped property to the west of those. So it is this area, approximately 49 acres at the northeast or northwest corner of Capitol and North Road. The Marvin Planning has conducted a study that shows that the area can be declared blighted and substandard. The first part of that process is for the City Council to make the decision on whether you want to consider this application as blighted and substandard. By doing so, if you decide to do so, you would forward it to the Planning Commission. They would hold a public hearing, make a recommendation, send it back to Planning Commission or back to City Council. You would then have the opportunity to vote on whether you wish to declare this area blighted and substandard. If you declare this blighted and substandard, you can expect that you will get applications for tax increment financing for development of the property.
Thank you, Mr. Nabity. Keith Marvin?
Good evening, Mayor and council members. It's been a while. Pleasure to be back here tonight. I'm here more to answer your questions that you may have on this before referring it. As Chad said, we did go through this. We did find a few different areas where it could meet the definition of blighted and substandard. It does not meet the majority of them, but it does meet enough, in our opinion, that it would meet those if you decide to declare it as such.
Mr. Butts?
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Chad. Thank you, Keith, for the introductions on the project. As Chad mentioned tonight, all we're evaluating at the end of the day is a referral for the blighted and substandard designation. We're not making the decision on it even yet, just are we moving the project forward? So does the land in question meet the criteria to be considered blighted and substandard? Objectively, it does, and so we would request your referral tonight to the Regional Planning Commission. We obviously know, though, that you're analyzing things outside of just the base context of the land, and so we want to make sure we have a little bit of an opportunity to present the vision, present the project to you and everything. As Chad mentioned, Staratskas are involved in this blight study, and SGRE, who has Sterling Apartments, they're involved in this blight study. We have some representatives from both entities tonight. Dave Staratskas here with us, Jordan Staratskas here with us, and then Yov Gershani and Deborah Klein from SGRE are here from out of town. Yov all the way from Washington, D.C., Deb from Omaha. But these folks are committed to the project. They've invested in the community in the past. They want to continue to do so. Prior to the submission of the blight study, the Staratskas, SGRE, they personally introduced this project to all of the affected neighbors. Any residents, any owner whose land would fall into this has had the opportunity to review the project. They hosted a public meeting, and the folks that showed up, generally the feedback was positive. We didn't have a lot of concern from folks. Fortunately, it doesn't appear folks are here to speak out against this, and so we count ourselves fortunate that our neighbors are willing to work with us on this. As your packets mentioned, as Chad mentioned, these will more than likely, an attorney's never going to say always, but these will more than likely lead to TIF applications from both separate entities. I might have some varying degree of involvement in both of those, but both TIF applications are ultimately going to be geared toward housing, toward single-family residential housing, towards multifamily apartment housing, both of which are necessary for Grand Island. And when we get to the point, if we get to the point of being able to present those TIF applications to you, I think we'll be able to make fairly compelling arguments as to why these would be good for the community overall. So tonight, though, again, I would ask for your focus to be on the particular issue of should we refer this forward. I believe we should. The standards are met. As always, though, we are here to answer any questions and would look forward to anything specific to the blight, or if you have any general questions for the developers about the project, we're here to talk to you. So thank you all very much.
Thank you. Council members, there's a motion. Mr. Pollack.
I would make a motion to approve 9A.
Mr. Stelk.
I second the motion, Mr. Mayor.
Pardon? Have you wished to speak? Is there a chance? Yes, you weren't on the list. I didn't overlook. Please come forward.
Thank you, Council. Thank you for indulging. I was late tonight, sorry. I just had a question. This is a general question on this, on page 175 of the packet, where, again, they talk about the area of the city that is considered blighted. And then it talks about the extremely blighted. And, you know, I've been before the council before talking about the ambiguity of the TIF blighted studies and the ethereal qualities that are required to to get it to go. But my question is this: is there a maximum amount of extremely blighted? Is there a maximum area that can be declared extremely blighted? I mean, we've got 35% for plain old blighted, but when extremely blighted, if that subtracts from the blighted, it's like, well, at some point, you would have 50% maybe declared blighted if you've got 20% extremely blighted. So is there some checks and balances on this blighted, extremely blighted balance? That's my question, because we're getting up there in the percentages, and I would not like to see them exceeded. That was my question then.
For the purpose of our process, I need you to state your name.
I'm sorry. Gerald Pools, West Highway 30.
Perhaps Mr. Nabity can answer your question.
Yes, I would be happy to answer that. Currently, under the current statutes, there is no maximum limit of extremely blighted property. With that said, the ability to declare something extremely blighted, as this council has seen, can be very difficult. And the council has the authority to say yes or no, even if it appears and can be shown that it does meet the requirements of extremely blighted. That is up to this body. So we will continue to bring forward studies as they are submitted, because that's the process. And when they're submitted, we will tell you what that impact has on those numbers. We are limited to 35% of the municipal limits as blighted. That is reduced by the amount extremely blighted. In this case, it's about 6%. So we're at about 26% overall, but we're at 20% when you remove the extremely blighted. This particular project at 49 acres, I think, adds 0.17% to the total. So it takes about 200 acres to add 1% to the total based on the size of Grand Island at this point.
Thank you, Mr. Nabity. Discussion by council.
Please vote. Is it working? Motion adopted.
Ordinance 10A. Is there a motion to suspend the statutory rules regarding ordinances for ordinance number 10,012? Mr. Stelp.
I move to suspend the rules.
Mr. Conley.
I will second that.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Yes.
It didn't work. Please vote.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, yeah.
Motion adopted.
On the merits of ordinance number 10,012, consideration to recodify all business improvement districts. Mrs. Fisk.
Council members, this ordinance is fairly simple. It does two things. The first is which we had uncodified or removed from our permanent city code, the various active and expired BIDs. Due to a change in our code provider, there's a need to recodify those so that they're back in city code. The other change that is made in this ordinance is the creation of a default structure should a new BID ever be created in the future to kind of set forth some preferred structures, preferred accounting methods. There is no active BID application now, but we wanted to have that in there in case one comes up so we can work towards some uniformity amongst our business improvement districts.
Thank you, Mrs. Fisk. Mr. Haase.
Thank you, Mayor. I would move to approve ordinance number 10012.
Mr. Pollitt.
I would
Any discussion?
Please vote. Motion adopted.
We have completed our agenda. We had an excellent meeting. Thanks to all who participated.
I said 45 minutes, so